Can you hear me now? Oh, there it is.
How's it going, guys? Zoro Fanboy 124 here, and I'm here today with the usual suspects here to talk about the Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 7. And this episode, I thought it ended well. The beginning and the middle were more like just set up for things to come, and a lot of interesting stuff, but nothing too profound. But the ending, in my opinion, with Tyrion talking to Oberyn, and the ending, obviously, with that bitch getting chucked from the moon door, that was really what made the
Zoro gets the You Call It award for this week, man.
I get everything wrong, but I got this one right, so I'll take it. Rick's usually the one that gets everything right, but I got one thing right, so I will gladly take the credit for that. But anyway, obviously we got our group here. Jim, say hello.
Hey, hello. Glad to be here, and certainly excited, man. I thought it was a good episode. Thought it was a really good episode. A lot of great things, and just the three scenes with Tyrion, I thought were just solid, just really, really good. So. And like I said, you get the You Call It award for the week. So.
Yes. All right. It's the last time probably. But Shot Red.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I mean, episode was really good. I already called it. I already knew who was going to go into that hole. Still waiting for one more character to fall down in there. But out of everything, pretty good episode. A lot of interesting stuff. Some things that kind of surprised me how certain characters deal, and run into a lot of characters that you haven't seen back in a while. So let's do this.
All right, and finally we have Rick, who called something as well, which is pretty obvious, but Oberyn would be the champion for Tyrion. Say hello.
That was pretty damn obvious.
Yeah,
I want to take. I mean, that's not. But
you know that one. Doctor talked about it.
Great episode. Like the insight into each character, as it was kind of like, what are they thinking, kind of with everything going on right now. So that was really cool on that perspective. And listening to Robin, I think I want a moon door. We all should have moon doors.
Yeah, I'd like to piss out the moon door, man.
Have moon doors.
I would be terrified. I'm scared of heights, man. Fuck a moon door.
I'm scared of heights too, dude. But if I had like 4 or 5 drinks, man, I'd be pissing out that fucking thing all my own. Dude. I'd be like, hey, come on over, man. Let's piss out the moon door. You know?
Everyone should have a moon door. I'm just saying.
I think that's true. That is true.
What about the mountain? Say that.
Mount needs to go, man. Did they change his voice actor, by the way?
Yeah, it's like the third time
they've
changed
recast
this
him
guy,
out
dude.
every season that he's been in.
Yeah, he's been in the first season, the second season, and now the fourth season. Because I thought he looked different, and I forgot that his name was actually Sir Gregor Clegane. And when I watched the second season the first time, and he was at Harrenhal and everything like that, and Tywin gives him some orders, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he referred to him as Gregor Clegane.
I did the same thing. I did the
I
same
didn't
thing.
catch that, and I remember this big fucking brute of a man that cut a horse's head off in the first one. You know what I mean? He looked like some crazy bushman on steroids, bro. And then in the second season, he was a little more thinned out and looked like I don't know. He didn't look the same at all. So yeah, and then I saw the guy yesterday. I'm like, who the hell was this? I'm like,
I had no idea.
So,
I'm like,
the guy was more clean shaved.
yeah.
Big dude though, big dude, man. Jesus.
Yeah.
I think the dude in season 1, he seems like he was maybe because he was in armor. He just seems bigger than this guy.
The armor.
A subscriber of mine.
He's still big as hell though.
A subscriber of mine linked me to a picture, like an on-set photo between with Cersei and him, and he's standing next to her, and she's like, I mean, he's got to be like 2 heads taller than her, dude. And I was just like, wow, And I think Lena Headey is like 5'8" or 5'9", so she's not like a short chick. But this guy sent me the picture. I was like, "Wow, this dude's like some like dude from Iceland or something like that." He is just a behemoth of a man.
They do make him big out there, man. They really do. So
you're gonna see him in WWE next year, man. He don't even need to get the Vince McMahon steroids, man.
Yeah, but that kind of caught me off guard. But let's start off with the beginning of the episode. The little discussion between Tyrion and his brother Jaime. There was some back and forth. Tyrion doing the whole, father never loved me, he always loved you kind of thing. And that was pretty much the gist of what I got from it. Also, the fact that Jaime's not going to be fighting. At that point, we learned that Jaime was not going to be fighting for Tyrion as his champion. So, what did you guys get from that scene?
Go ahead.
I don't know, like, with me, I mean, first off, to even consider Jaime, I think would have been a huge missight on Tyrion's part. We're seeing what he knows from about Jaime, that he can't fight or whatnot. So I never expected, Jaime was out of the park at he was never a consideration in my opinion. But
Tyrion.
All three of those scenes connect so well. Because first off, Tyrion's looking for a champion. But it's just, again, it's great insight into Tyrion and how he feels and what he's dealt with all his life.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm actually really scared for Tyrion right now. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get insight into a character like that, usually they're on their way out. So.
Well, I mean, I don't see Oberyn losing, but I really don't see Oberyn losing.
No, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm nervous because this is not a show where they, a conventional good guy wins, and that the first season taught me that. Man, I don't get too attached to anybody, but to kind of piggyback off what Rick was saying about the three scenes connecting so well, and I know we'll talk about the other ones later, is I kind of broke it down as the three visits were almost like, bear with me now, almost like like the Christmas Carol movie, The Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future. The first one was Jaime. It's his brother from his past that had this history with him, right? And unfortunately he can't do anything for him. And he tells him that, and he's basically like, yeah, I'm useless, But he's got Brom to fall back on, and that's the present guy, right? That's the Ghost of Christmas Present. That's the guy he's been hanging around with. He's been his sellsword. He's been his backstabbing cutthroat, as he put it. You know what I mean? That's why I liked you, because you were this dishonest scumbag and everything, but you'd be loyal to the money. And then you've got Oberyn, who comes in unexpectedly, and that's like his future. That's like basically, hey, listen, here's the deal, okay? I got this beef, and that's more important than anything else to me right now, so I'm going to help give you a future, because at that point, he's like, I'm going to have to fight this dude myself. Nobody want to fight for me, He thought that he had it in the bag with Bronn, So I thought all of them were very well done, but the first one was I thought it was nice that they at least considered Jaime, because that was the first thing I thought of. And then I went to Bronn, and I was like, well, Bronn already fought for him once, and that'd be kind of lame if they did it again. You know what I mean? And then obviously the Oberyn thing, once we talked about it last week, became very apparent to me as well. But I had an oh shit moment, and it took me a little longer, to have.
I mean, once they chose the Mountain, I was 95% sure that it was going to be Oberyn that would take his, be his champion. I was just surprised that Tyrion didn't think about that sooner. I thought Tyrion would be the one to come up with the idea, say, oh, this makes too much sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, I forgot about the Mountain too, because he wasn't even in season 3, and although he's been mentioned a few different times, I wasn't even aware until somebody told me before the live stream last week that well, the Mountain is always the champion for the realm, or has been since Tywin's been kind of in office, so to speak,
Right.
So I didn't know that, but once we found out at the beginning of the episode, then I was thinking, well, Oberyn, that's the shoe-in, for Oberyn. I mean, sorry, I'm thinking about beer. Oberyn. Anyway.
What I think I liked the most about that scene with Jaime, though, was the reference to Tyrion's outbursts. It's like Tyrion's like, yeah, I probably should have did that, but God, did it feel good, kind of, thing with Tyrion.
Yeah, it's kind of like it was the wrong thing.
His emotions. I like the fact he admitted that his emotions did get the best of him.
And he acknowledged that he's like, I did the wrong thing, but it just felt so right. You know what I mean? And sometimes doesn't that happen,
And he basically admitted that if it wasn't for Shay basically, turning on him as well, he probably would have taken the deal. But, you know what I'm saying? That was like the last straw. He couldn't handle that. Yeah. So that's why,
all from what happened in that episode, we finally get to see what, Tyrion is thinking and why he did his actions on the last episode.
Right.
Him, the pain that he felt, that how Shay betrayed him, and the whole how he wanted to stick it to his father because he always resented him all his life.
The other stream that I do on Fridays with Larry, we actually debated would Tyrion have taken the deal had not been Shay, and we all know. Because when Shay came in, at that point, it wasn't about surviving. It was about sticking it to Tywin as best he could, and that was the best way he could.
The other thing too is I don't know if you guys like stream this from somewhere, you have HBO or whatever, but on HBO on demand, a subscriber had pointed this out to me that they put up these little 5 and 10 minute little shorts after each episode, and this week they uploaded one on the trial and basically explained about the whole trial by combat, and it can be anytime before a verdict is rendered, you can call for it, this and that, but any deals made on your behalf beforehand, just like in a court of law when lawyers are making deals, but then if you come up there and you plead not guilty, the deals are they're off the table. So the deal with Jaime and Tywin, it's out the door, regardless of win, lose, or draw, whether Tyrion lives or not. Jaime does not have to hold to that deal that he made with Tywin. And I didn't know that until I saw this kind of it's like a little 5-minute thing, and they interview George Martin and some of the other guys, from the actual, that were in the scenes maybe, and some of the producers, and I thought it was very interesting, that's the law, that's how it works. So even, because we were speculating last week, okay, well, if Tyrion winds up living, then Tywin will still get his way. Well, that's not the case. So Jaime can still say, no, fuck you, Dad. So
that is true. That is
going back to square one.
But I mean, despite the laws, like Tywin is the law. Like he could do whatever the. I mean, if Tywin really wants Tyrion out or really wants him dead, I don't think it would be that hard for him to accomplish that. Even if Tyrion survives this ordeal.
Well, I was gonna say, despite us, how much you have to hate hate the guy, he's always a person who follows by the rules in a certain way.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, there's always been more than occasions.
I wouldn't agree with that. I agree that he follows a set of rules, but I think it's a set of rules that he dictates and makes up as he goes along.
I mean, I don't think
he puts it in place.
I don't think Tywin is really a big honor guy. I mean, didn't he betray he betrayed the Mad King by bringing 1,000 soldiers to him during the rebellion, saying, pretending like he was gonna.
10,000 he brought to the gates and said, "We're here for reinforcements. Open the gates." And then they opened the gates, and then they fucking slaughtered and sacked the city. And he said, "Oh,
if you go back to season 1,
exactly.
He was scolding Jaime for not finishing off Ned.
Nope.
And he was like, but Jaime was like, "Well, it wasn't clean." He's like, "So?" That's pretty much what he was saying. I mean, long story short, that's pretty much what he said. So what? Well, why didn't you finish off Ned?
He's pretty much a get-it-done type of guy, and in my opinion, if there is a law that's not to his liking, he finds a way to change the law to where it fits his position better. So that's the guy that's the vibe I get from Tywin.
Yes,
so he makes whatever need to happen.
My box set, what he did in the Wed Wedding, that is so dishonorable to invite someone into your house. To kill them.
Yeah, under the protection of a wedding. Yeah, that's
would look down on you. That's why, Olenna was like, how could you kill someone at a wedding? That's why Olenna constantly, passively, aggressively was just not down with the whole thing.
And the funny part is that what everybody saw on TV or what they heard about was basically that that Walder Frey had done that as retribution for him. But so Walder Frey took the fall for it and all the bad press. Okay, but a lot of the higher ups and the people that are smart, the highborn, they know what was going on behind the scenes. But the crown would never go out and admit to that sort of thing. That's why everything was carried out, and then it's kind of behind the scenes. So it was masterfully done. Because you're right. It is one of the worst things you can ever do.
Walter said in the last episode of that season, "I ain't tripping about what people think of me. I got Tywin Lannister backing me up."
Yeah.
Right.
So no one would attack him for doing that.
Yes, no one would rebel against him. Yeah, any other stragglers from the North or sympathizers with the North or the Starks, or the Tullys, you know what I mean? So, or the Arryns. I mean, anybody in the Vale, the Riverlands, or the North that sympathizes with, those families. But so he was protected from.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think Walder Frey's going to get his just desserts eventually, but we'll see when that happens.
I can't wait for that.
I just think Harry Potter whenever I see him. He's the janitor from Harry Potter.
Well, I didn't like him. I didn't like that guy either.
I didn't like him either, but I'm just saying, that's what I think of whenever I see him. Oh, Harry, Anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say the janitor. Yeah, he's been moving up along in the world.
Come a long way from scrubbing the floors of Hogwarts.
That is true. So let's move on to the next part of the episode. The whole Hound and Arya scene. They come across a dying man, and they basically put him out of his misery. Then the Hound is attacked from behind by this random guy, bites a big chunk out of his neck, which I thought to myself, why would he bite him instead of just stabbing him in the back?
It's like, can't you afford a sword, bro?
That seems like such a horrible way to attack somebody, but, you gotta overlook that a little bit, I guess. The Hound just goes, snaps his neck. And the guy is stupid enough to answer Arya's question when she asks what's his name. What? Why would you do that? What do you think she's asking your name for?
Well, they kind of look like lower common folk, so I think they ain't that bright.
And you know how it is, man. As soon as a bounty or reward gets put out, everybody, all the cockroaches come out of the woodwork trying to get that. So, but the thing that I liked about the scene was number one, the conversation, the kind of philosophical little thing between Arya and the dying guy, and really what she's saying is true. Right now she holds on to hatred, right? That's the only thing she has that kind of keeps her going. She's explaining, though, that something is better than nothing, and that's what I took from it. You know what I mean? When they're, and even though it didn't make sense when they were saying it a lot, when you listen to the conversation, it's really kind of like from a philosophical standpoint, like you'd rather have something going on in your life, negative or positive or otherwise, because when there is nothing and you're dead, is what you were saying.
Nothing is nothing.
Yeah, it's absolute. There, obviously there's nothing behind that. So I thought that was cool. And then when the guy does come and bite the Hound, and the Hound snaps his neck. But prior to that, he winds up as he stabbed that guy and wiped off his blade. He said, and that's how you do it, through the heart, girl, you know. And I just love that shit, how she just goes and does her little water dancing move, you know, that she's got, and she's just like, thanks, boom, and I mean, right to the chest, dude. I'm like, wow. Wow.
What I loved about that part.
Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Is it's the complexity with Arya that it is Arya's character right now. I don't think she's becoming a cold-blooded killer, but you know, thinking about like Caprica, he's a kind person, but when the Phantom Troop gets in front of him, he goes ham. Arya, I think, is coming is similar to that in that she's legitimately a good person. She has that Stark mentality, you know. She wouldn't like attack someone for no reason. But people who have wronged her, like that guy,
better watch out.
It's a wrap. No,
better watch out.
Like, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
that's
but the thing,
you know?
the thing about the depth of personality that she has, though, is that type of character is the most dangerous. Someone that can be smiling in your face one minute, and then the next minute just go batshit crazy and put an arrow through your or a sword through your head. Somebody that can turn it on and off like that. You know what I mean? It's people like the Hound. He's the Hound, and he doesn't make any. There's no bones about it, man. You know what I mean? He's kind of like, hey, this is how it is. This is what I do. I don't care if you like it or not. You know what I mean? She still reminds you of like, oh, she's this cute, innocent little girl, and it's like, oh, goddamn, the bitch just stabbed that guy, you know? It's like, and then she just flips the switch. So, you know, I like it, but I think it's dangerous, you know?
But it's funny. She seemed like she's a dangerous person, but I don't think she's that dangerous to me because she doesn't have that much, you know, cunning. She ain't like Oberyn, for example. Oberyn would be the type of person.
True, but look who she's
smarter than
traveling with,
most.
though.
She's smarter than most, I would say.
She's pretty sharp, and then you got to remember who she's traveling with now too. She's learning quite a bit of things about the world from the Hound. You know what I mean? Whether you like it or not, for better or worse, she's learning how the world works very quickly from him. You know,
it's weird. It's weird because like one episode they're arguing and they're bickering and she's threatening to kill him. The next episode they're having a bonding moment. That felt like this episode was one of those episodes.
Well, yeah, I don't think she's like naive or something. She's just more like learning because remember she's still new to this whole world to her. That's what I think what's happening.
The one thing about what I think makes Arya so dangerous, though, in suspecting, is the fact she knows how to use the fact she's a child to her advantage. We've seen her do it many times, and then she just catches him off guard. That's what makes Arya so dangerous.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Whenever it comes to best of her ability, she'll use it.
But yeah, she's learning, man. I'm telling you, she's learning. This is the beginning of her combat learning. Like she's gonna get her a little bit from the Hound, and then maybe if they go to Bravos, which I'm assuming that they will, considering that her aunt is now dead. You know what I'm saying? Then she's gonna learn from her swordmaster again, or from the assassin guy. I forget his name all the time. But yeah, I think that this is just the beginning of her training until being a beast. 'Cause I can really see her being a beast down the road. She has the best teachers you can ask for. The Hound is a monster in his own right. In one terms of fighting, he's there to not only teach her how to fight, but also teach her how the world really is. And then she could have the sword dancing master to help her with that. And she just has so many people that could help her out. That I'm really excited to see.
What's interesting about what's the kind of training she's going through now is that it's not combat training; it's psychological training to get ready to be able to pull that trigger. Like that's what the Hound's teaching her. You have to pull the trigger.
No, I agree with you, Rick, because when she first came around, she always viewed things one-sided. She's starting to learn a little bit more things here and there, what certain things people do. But as far as that, she's a person who's still learning. And I was agreeing with you, Zoro, about that was the whole thing I really was interested in Arya. She's the, some people say, the whole tomboy character, doing whatever she wanted to do. And I was really interested in her when she started picking up learning sword fighting. And I always thought that, ever since they did that transition when she wanted to go to Bravos, I could see her being like, some type of assassin person or like some type of rogue, fighter and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see what she becomes. Like she's gonna be. Yeah. She really is. I really do. So okay, I think we can move on to the next part of the episode because that was probably one of the better parts of the episode. But let's move over to the maybe not as interesting in my opinion, but probably very important. John returning to the wall, having an argument with the superiors about whether or not they should actually close the tunnel, considering that obviously Mance Rayder and his group have fucking giants and that can break through that gate. They're not convinced, and they shut him down. I think that this mostly is going to play an important role in that invasion eventually does go down, but I don't think it was whatever to me. I wasn't really, big on that scene in this episode. What do you guys think about it?
Well,
The way
from
I
what I
saw
saw,
that episode was simply just more set up to when John is eventually going to take over or be appointed Lord Commander. And I think that's what they're building up with everything with it going on. Alistair needs to die. Like, a Wiley needs to come and just stab him. He needs to die. He needs to go away because he's going to be the downfall of Castle Black.
Yeah, and he's like a
That's
painful
in the
death
way
too.
he
Like,
does.
like the dire wolf needs to go and like bite him right in the dick and kill him.
Oh,
That's how he
man.
needs to go. He needs to go straight dire wolf to the dick, man. Seriously.
Oh man.
He's going to be the downfall. If Castle Black falls, it's his fault, plain and simple.
I think he might die this season, probably by a wildling or something. I mean, who knows?
I hope so.
I mean, what I saw from the whole episode is just him, Jon Snow still, taking a lot of shit from certain higher ups in the crows and stuff. But I've seen a little bit of interest of what the plans he wanted to do, but for all he knows is, he still they still count as what is it, like not like a serf, is it, or like like a busboy or something, like a clean,
Oh, a steward.
Yeah, he's still a steward,
Steward,
yeah.
yeah.
He's still a steward, so yeah. So realistically, the way the hierarchy goes is that he shouldn't have any say in some of the things he's having say in. But also, I mean, you got to remember the guy was, he was north of the wall. The half hand wound up going, giving his life so he could actually go and get Jon Snow integrated in with the wildlings. He went and did all this stuff. He did the extracurricular activities with Ygritte, and I'm sure he didn't mind that either in the cave. But he went through a lot of stuff over here and did this all, in the service, to the Black, to the Night's Watch. But this Alistair Crowe just does not want to see anything good about him whatsoever. So I think it's one of those things where, yeah, it's just the setup. It's the calm before the storm, because he's going to get, voted in by just being popular amongst everybody. A lot of things that he said, he says things, he does them. People see that he's truthful, he's honest, and that he seems to be much smarter than some of these kind of just stuffy old bastards that don't really, because like even when he said to him, he's like, have you ever seen a giant? And he's like, those bars are 4 inches thick of rolled steel. And he's like, yeah, they won't hold. They won't hold, And he's trying to say, like, dude, I've seen shit, It's like, get a clue, brother. I came back to warn you, and you're still sitting around eating mutton chops and busting my balls about having a wolf pissing in the premises. What the hell, So that's, but all in all, yeah, that was probably one of my least favorite scenes of the episode. So
yeah. So yeah, basically all I got of it is that particular tunnel might play a role since they didn't obviously close it up when the invasion eventually does happen. That's all I really got from that scene, pretty much, and that they're treating him like shit, which is nothing new. Yeah. But let's move on to the part right after that. That's where we see Bronn come and visit Tyrion. We see Bronn in his new digs, looking fresh. He's getting married to this chick. Was it Lawless Stockworth? I think her name was.
Yeah, Lawless Stockworth.
Some shit like that. And he basically alludes to the fact that she may not, this Stockworth person may not be first in line for the castle.
Yeah,
Stockworth,
she's the younger sister. Yeah.
But he's like, oh, women fall off their horses all the time. So basically, is he planning to murder the older sister?
Hell yeah, Bronn needs him a castle.
He's like, I'm gonna move up in the world, man. He's like, I'm doing good for myself. I was like, not surprised. Even though he's like one of my favorites too. But it was interesting to see how that scene interact when he's talking to Tyrion and during the whole thing with the trial and combat, which I was not surprised by that, because one of the things that the insight I really saw is that even the character, he knows his limits. He knows he can't fight the mountain. He knows that.
I think part of it's that, and I think the other part is like what he was saying to Tyrion. It was really, number one, he played his character like his character was supposed to be played. If he did come to Tyrion's defense, I would have thought I would have been like, why did you build up this character for 4 years to be this one way and now he's another way? Bronn he's very much he said it at the end. He's like, listen, I really like you, pal, but I like myself more. And that's really the bottom line. In the first season, when he stood up and he decided to defend him and be his champion, it was for gold, and he didn't have anything. He didn't have any. He was a sellsword. Now he's been through some shit with Tyrion, and he's been paid for things, but he got a better deal. You know what I mean? And I like how Tyrion goes, and when he says, I'm sorry, and he goes, why are you sorry? You're a backstabbing cutthroat. That's why I liked you. That's why I hired you to begin with. So that was really one of those, like, at the end, though, I hated it when he was going to walk out of the cell, and he was like, so what are you going to do, And Tyrion's like, I guess I'll have to fight the mountain myself, which is obviously laughable, when you look at how big this guy is. And, Tyrion not really having much combat experience, but Bronn played, he played the character that he was supposed to play. I wouldn't have expected nothing different from him.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
with that said, I can't even be mad at Braun.
No,
I still respect Braun because at least he came to Tyrion and he said it to his face. He could have just bounced and did his own thing. Because he still considers Tyrion a friend, but that's just the nature of the relationship. And Tyrion's not even mad at Braun.
Yeah,
So
and when he laid it out too, he said, "Listen," he goes, "the dude is huge." He goes, "He's strong as hell." He goes, "He's freakishly fast for his size. Sure, maybe I can wear him out, I can get around, but this one of those live or die type of situations. You know what I mean? There is no second chances on this one. One step the wrong way, left when I should go right, and I'm done, man. Would I rather be with this, with this woman, and have a place to myself, or would I rather be dead? Sorry, and then maybe." If I'm not dead, maybe you'll give me some shit up in Winterfell area in the north where it's cold anyway, So he looked at his options and he chose the best one for himself,
I mean, yeah, because Braun, he's like he's a fast like rogue type, fighting character. He can't deal with somebody like the Mountain who's like a very strong, like sword wielding, heavy type guy. Because he's really strong, and not only that, he said that he's fast enough because he ain't like one of those slow type fighters where maybe Braun might get a chance at him. Which is why it was too hard for him to risk it.
Yeah.
Yep.
He weighed the options, and then things weren't in his favor, So
exactly.
Simple math,
Yep.
Very, very true. Very, very true. But the best part of that for me was like, listen, you're right. I am your friend, but when have you ever risked your life to save me? And Tyrion thought about it. Was like,
yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, that was good. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that part.
So that kind of like had me like, okay, Braun. At first I'm like, come on, Braun, man, you guys are friends. And then he said that, I'm like, all right, good point. You're right. He's in the right. I mean, the characters played it the way that they should have played it. So that
was the perfect counter to that point too. You know what I mean? Is but aren't you my friend? Because at that point Tyrion's trying to pull the friend card, right? Which somebody would do. You're my friend. You're my brother. You're my whatever. It's like, hey, listen, buddy. Yeah, that may be true. We have good times and everything, but when did you do anything for me like this? You know what I mean? So that was a good point, and it was answered well, I think.
Definitely. So I hope we see more Braun. If Tyrion does survive this ordeal. I hope that's not the last that we see of him just fucking go off and bang.
I like him. He's one of my favorite characters. He's got some of the most memorable lines in the whole series.
He's amazing.
I agree with you, man.
All right, so let's move on to this scene and fucking hate Dario, man. I don't know why. I just fucking hate Dario. I can't stand that dude. I
really?
I just fucking hate him.
I like Dario a bit too, but this may be sad for me to say. I like the old Dario more.
Is it the recasting?
No. I hated the old one too, man. I hated the old one too, that smooth motherfucking asshole.
He wants to see his boy Jorah get up in that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Jorah deserves it, man. Fuck Dario.
See, that's where we're different opinions, because I've always looked at Jorah as like, he's like in his 50s and he's a father figure, and I've never looked at it as like he wanted to get in her pants, type of thing.
But he does though. Like I think, Remember when I think it was in a party in Karth, I believe. One random woman came up to him and was like, "You love her, don't you?" And he looked at her and he's like, "Yeah, basically, yeah, I do love her." We didn't say it, but you could basically got that impression from him. So obviously he does. That's what the whole awkward scene afterwards with him coming out of her room was about. Yeah, fuck Dario. I got nothing to say about him. But,
George's face when he looked, he's like, "No, the fuck you didn't." This is like Tywin dropped his face last week. Jorah threw his he couldn't find that shit. Like Tywin found it later, but Jorah's still looking for it right now. Like
I was gonna say,
he is the king of Friendzoneville, dude.
No. The part that really had sold the injury to that when they walked by, he said, she's gonna be
in a good mood this morning.
Yeah.
I fucked her good, Jorah. That's what he was thinking.
Oh man.
That scene, and actually it's funny because that scene, and then of course it cuts to the Melisandre one and Selyse, and then goes back to obviously the morning after that we were talking about, but pretty much the way it was set up is like that was kind of like the softcore porn part of the episode, because it starts out and she walks in, and she's got these nice chambers and everything like that, and Dario's all smooth, he's got the flowers, he's real forward, he really wants some shit, and I love too though when he was just like. She's like, yeah, but you pledged your sword to me. My sword is yours, my queen. And he was talking about his ding-a-ling. When he said that, but he meant whatever for send me to kill somebody or let me fuck you. And that's kind of what I got from the scene. And then I love when she just like pours herself a glass of wine, sits down, she's like, all right, take off your clothes. I And then, like you guys mentioned, we didn't actually see the scene, so who knows, man?
Right.
That bitch might have been freaky and brought out some whips and chains and dildos, and who knows what Dario had done to him.
Do they have that technology in the Seven Kingdoms? I don't know, man.
I'm sure they
Like I said, you don't know what happened yet.
Well, the whips and chains, I'm sure.
You never know.
Nothing I want.
So.
I'm not gonna lie. I did not like Danny this week. I didn't like her attitude that much this week. I was like, I don't know. It's like I know people was like this week only, but this week specifically, that arrogance was just so like misplaced. Because with her, I just felt.
I thought this is the one week where she was being somewhat humble because she listened to Jorah's advice.
The first half, the second half, yeah, I agree with you on that. But in the beginning, it was like, I don't know. She just was on this shit like, "What are you doing here? I didn't tell you to come here."
He did sneak into a room.
He snuck up into the Queen's bedchamber, and he's already made advances. And whether she has, given him googly eyes or not, man, that's like some no shit, man. You don't be crawling into the Queen's bedchambers, man.
No, but what I'm talking about is like not when Dario was talking about though. The city watching how she's having all the second sons, and he's trying to tell her, well, you have enemies out there. Let me do what I do best. And just her attitude at first was just like, it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I can sympathize with you on that on one hand, but on the other hand, she's trying to become a good or at least a decent ruler. And really, I mean, do you think a king ever pays attention to, or any of his advisors pay attention to? Well, the city watch or the Night's Watch or this guard, they don't want to do this anymore. I mean, could you imagine if Jamie was like, I'm fucking bored of this job. I'm tired of Robert Baratheon fucking my sister every night over here and getting drunk and guard. I quit.
Yeah, Dario's been how long has he even been under the Daenerys? Not very long at all.
Well, since last season, and I'm assuming like a few months or something. But you got to remember, this is 2,000 sellswords, okay?
Right,
and he did kill his other commanders to kind of go because they didn't go with what he wanted to do, and he's got the hots for Daenerys. But at the end of the day, man, they're all a bunch of bronze, is what they are. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're paying me, but come on, man, don't fucking pay me to stand around and go and pick up beggars and loiterers on the street.
Well,
no, to kill somebody,
That's the thing, though. Danny doesn't have to pay Dario. I don't know the complete situation, but Dario actually pledged his allegiance.
Yeah, no, I know he pledged himself. I was just making an example. You know what I mean? It's not as if.
That's something I brought in my review. That I don't know what the situation is with the other 999 of them. How they feel about the whole situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because somebody's walking around the city on patrol like, man, fuck this. Who put Dario in charge anyway, man? I don't like that dude.
I see, but I was going to ask you this, Rick. I was going to say, is this going to make you not like, Danny no more because he's starting to fall?
Oh, no. Danny's my second favorite character now. Littlefinger's actually my favorite character overall now.
Oh, so Littlefinger got up.
Littlefinger is he's the dude. He's the dude. I love Littlefinger. And honestly, I like characters like Littlefinger. Like, he has that Light Yagami vibe, and Light Yagami is one of my all-time favorite characters. And he really reminds me of Light Yagami in a lot of ways, with the way he schemes and his cut and everything. I think he's gonna fall just like Yagami did.
Yeah. Quick question before we move on, because 2 episodes ago I wasn't here, but that scene where Lyza was freaking out on Sansa and she was like, "Tell me what he did to you," I just wanted to hear, or Sansa, when Lyza was talking to Sansa, when she's like was accusing Sansa of fucking Littlefinger or doing something with him, I just want to hear Sansa in her accent just make like a Littlefinger pun joke, and be like, he stuck his little finger in my ass or my arse or however she would say it, because Littlefinger, that name is so funny, and it's like I just want to go and have like a sexual reference in the show with that, and then in their accent that would be on point, man. Anyway, sorry, I'm done. Rant over.
But what I like the most about this scene is that finally Danny did listen to one of her advisors. In the end.
I think ultimately that was and I think that was really the point of it, because a couple episodes ago when she didn't listen to Sir Barristan, then she kind of felt like a schmuck last week. And whether that guy that came in, whether he was playing him or not about his father being against him and everything else, I think she started to turn last week and realize that not every choice is an absolute and has to be, and not everything has to be dealt with so swiftly and so severely. There can be mercy if you want to have people respect you. And then I think this week was her putting that into action once Jorah changed her mind. And I like when Jorah walked out, too, was going to walk out, and she said, "Go tell Dario I changed my mind." And she said, "No, wait." And then she held for a second, and she said, "Tell him you changed my mind." And that was, that was her just stringing him along for a little bit longer, too. But
I will say, though, I don't see this. I see some conflict from that. Like, I don't think Dario's going to like that decision that much, and it could. I can definitely they could build up some conflict between Daddario and Jorah. Definitely.
I can definitely see that.
I could see
But,
that.
like, why is she
Blocked me.
Hey, I was gonna say, who knows? They might have a sword fight against each other. So.
Daddario, I think Daddario will fuck Jorah up. I think.
Oh, really? I'm going.
Jorah all
With
day.
That style is.
Rick.
So, I think so superior to
Rick.
Westeros.
Don't let the old night down fool you, man.
Tread carefully, Rick.
When he said sword fight, I immediately went to like a sexual thing. In my mind.
That's
in
just
my
what
mind,
we
I'm
come to
sorry.
expect, Jim.
I can't, yeah.
With your little finger thoughts and
I'm sorry, man.
medieval sex
the
toy
Rocky,
thoughts.
man.
I'm repressed, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yo, I don't know that style. They got that Bravo style, man. I don't know.
Listen,
Jordan
man.
Reigns.
Jorah knows what's up, man. All right. Listen, I think Jorah was present during the raid on the Greyjoys when Baratheons
when they invaded.
Well, yeah, when the
Baratheons
invaded because the Greyjoy burned down like whose ships did they burn down? I think they burned down Lannister ships, and then the fucking because I was watching you told me to watch the backstory.
Yeah, so you learn a lot of shit, man. I've become like 500% smarter in the last 7 weeks, dude, on Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So the Greyjoys burned down the Lannister ships, and the Robert Baratheon and took his personal army to attack the Greyjoy Keep, and I think Ser Jorah was there too. So I mean, he's no slouch, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's battle tested and hardened, but I want to see him in some real action.
The power of youth, man. I'm just saying. It'd be a good fight, but like, I don't know. You got that Dothraki style, man, with them hook swords. But I don't know.
Wait.
You like?
I have some technical difficulties. My camera's not really working so well. So let me just move on to the next thing, and I'll try to fix it. Okay, so we talked about the Jorah stuff and Daenerys and all that stuff. So we can move on to the second scene with Arya and the Hound. That was a little more touching scene, a little bit more. I think there's a bit of more of an understanding between the two men. I don't know. I want to believe that those two will come to an understanding, to an agreement when it's all said and done. She won't try to kill him, but that still remains to be seen. But I like the scene where fucking the Hound is incredibly terrified of the fire. And she agrees, okay, I'll wash your wounds. You know what I'm saying? He gives a whole backstory about, the fact that, it hurt when he did it. The smell was worse, but what hurt the most was the fact that it's my brother that did it. That was pretty.
Well, and that his father covered it up, and that's what I took from it, because we've heard just kind of like the story, kind of, but to hear it from his mouth and to think about a young child and I had brothers growing up, and I have kids now, three boys, and I think, you think about it, yeah, even though it's like, kind of crazy medieval times and everything like that. He's like, I took his toy, or he accused me of taking his toy, but I was only playing with it, and he burned the half of his face off, and then, and then obviously that hurt that it was his brother that did it, but what hurt him, I think, the most is his father said his bedding started on fire, to save face probably to other people or whatever, and man, as a kid, that's got to be crippling, you know what I mean? Your father goes and lets your brother get away with maiming you for life because you were playing with his toy. So I love that scene and how it played out, and then I loved at the end of that thing, and he goes, so you're not the only one that's alone, girl. You know what I mean? Basically saying like, yeah, dude, I grew up in like, you know what I mean, in a world where nobody liked me. You know what I mean? Because I had no family, and look what they did to me. That's what I took from it. So it was a pretty good scene. And then at the end I was just like, come on, Arya, take him off the list. That's what I was.
She could have. I was like, oh my gosh, she's not gonna stab me.
Like I was saying, prediction. I don't think she's gonna kill him.
No.
I mean, this is one of those examples where you see from this whole scene right here where she's starting to open up a lot more with the Hound, which I'm thinking like farther on in the story we get to see more and more scenes like that, them interacting with each other.
I'm telling you guys, man, for anybody out there that reads Vinland Saga, man, this is a Thorfinn Escalade kind of situation.
Oh boy!
I'm telling you, that's the whole vibe I'm getting from this. They're gonna start to understand each other after a while, and I think they're gonna not be friends, but I don't know. Is friends too strong a word? Maybe I don't know.
I don't, I don't think that's too far of a stretch. I don't know if, like friends like hanging out and having barbecues at each other's houses, but at the end of the day, I think that,
Mutual respect?
I think a mutual respect, and as she goes down her path and goes and kills more and more people, but she does it for the right reasons in her mind, I think she's going to see that she has more in common with him, and that sometimes you can do the wrong thing for the right reasons. And I think that maybe she'll empathize with him then, and basically be like kind of like a grudging acquaintance at that point, like, all right, we're cool, so I ain't coming to your birthday party and shit, but we're cool, That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Everybody there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. There was silence. I don't know what was going on. Zoro, you there?
I think Rick is doing.
I'm here. Like I said, technical difficulties.
Okay. All right. Cool. I just wanted to make sure. Last week, towards the end of the episode, all of a sudden everybody wasn't talking, and it was because I lagged out, and then I had to go and rejoin the stream. So.
We're talking about the second Arya and Hound scene, right?
Right. So. Yeah, he's like, okay. The best part of it, the way it started off was nice. He's like, okay, your brother gave you that sword. My brother gave me this. So, yeah. So now I think that maybe Arya will have more of an understanding as to why the Hound is the way he is.
Yeah, and I like to see again. It's a duality with Arya. Like one scene shows the darkness that's in Arya, and the other side shows the darkness that's in Arya. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She still has that family trait, that mentality inside her. It's this duality with her. And with the Hound, I like that we finally got some actual character insight with the Hound, and it kind of insights to why the way he is. He was wronged by the one person he thought he'd never be wronged by, his brother. So it was probably the best Arya House in the season, to be honest.
It's very good. It was very good. So yeah, that was really good. So I think we can move on. That was pretty much for that scene. We've seen now, and this is probably, in my opinion, the least interesting part of the episode, but it has some importance, so we can bring it up. The Brienne and Podrick scene with that, I don't want to, I hesitate to use this word, but the fat kid, I forget his name.
Hot pie.
Hot pie.
The fluffy kid. The fluffy kid.
The weight challenge kid.
I thought it was interesting.
The kid that was with Arya. The kid that was with Arya.
Meat pies, man.
The meat pie kid, yes. Just it was a bit fillerish because he was just talking for 3 minutes about what makes a good meat pie, or what makes a good pie.
Yeah, that portion was fairly boring, but I think it was a nice setup and segue into obviously the second half of that scene where he came out there. Because if you think about it, we as viewers, we know that Arya Stark has been alive and somewhat well ever since for the whole time here. She's been through some shit. But as far as the rest of Westeros knows, she disappeared after Ned Stark was beheaded and is presumed dead. So there's been no confirmation of her being alive. Now, obviously, when she was cupbearer for Tywin in Season 2 in Harem Hall, it was cool because it's like, man, boy, when he finds out, if he ever finds out, he's going to kick himself in the ass. She was right there and slipped through his fingers. So I'm not saying she's lived it pretty the last few years, but I think this was good confirmation to put them on the right track. And then obviously, getting them to move towards the Eyrie, and obviously you get a 2-for-1 there. You think that that's where Arya's going, but you find that's where Sansa's still there at that time. Obviously, that's who you were originally setting out to look for. So
exactly,
so it was like the second half, but first half, like you said, I could have done without the kidney pie stuff. And I like cooking too, and I was like, shut the fuck up, dude. I'll watch the cooking channel if I want to know how to make a good kidney pie.
Exactly. It's all about the gravy. The gravy. What the fuck about the gravy?
I was like, yeah, tell me more about the gravy.
Give you some gravy.
He wanted to know about the gravy, man. That's what that's what the cooking, like you said, that's what the cooking channel's for, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got Cooking Network, man, or Cooking Channel, and I got the Food Network. I got all that stuff, man.
Yeah, you see that back there.
I need that in my Game of Thrones.
What I like the most about, first off, I like the chemistry that Brienne and Podrick are building.
Yeah.
Like I said, the scene 2 weeks ago, I didn't like it because of what it did to my boy Podrick.
Yeah, they made him look like a fool.
I think it was justified to me because
now seeing what that's built upon and where that now, I like the chemistry that him and Breen had. I like the fact Breen still reminds him it's a little bit rough when your boss doesn't have tons and tons of gold all the time.
Yeah.
So I like what they're building up to.
For me, they're like the Odd Couple. For anybody that's old enough to remember the Odd Couple with Jack Lemmon and what, and they, they really are. They're from two different worlds, and I like it because Baldrick was like you said, when he was in a couple episodes ago or whenever that was, they kind of he was kind of portrayed as like a bitch. You know what I mean? It was just like Baldrick can't do anything right. And in this one, I think it was a little more of like, she's finding his useful talents, and of course they're finding ways to commingle and coexist, and we see that he wasn't completely worthless while he was, under Tyrion's, working for Tyrion or whatever you want to say, squiring for him, because obviously he did have some useful information about the families and who had money and who this and who hated that. So I definitely thought that he was shot in a much better light this this episode.
So yeah, I was gonna say, looking at both of them interacting was that was a little bit of the highlight for me as far as that episode, seeing how certain characters, they're especially when the one guy came in, the little boy, and even though it was funny, I'm talking about the whole cooking and everything, it was good to see him again, like reassuring character, and it was showing that how like Podrick, for example, he was trying to give her a word of warning of the as far as much as they don't know, because she's actually helping out looking for Sansa, and while the Lannisters and all that stuff still looking for her or anybody who's helping out Stark family. And it was interesting how since now they know the whole information from the boy about Arya, they put two to two together with because of Podrick's knowledge that hey, maybe they're all heading to the Vale and we should go there.
Right.
Yeah, and it was nice too, because honestly, when I saw, even though I didn't really care for that kid, that Hot Pie or whatever, I think it's just his nickname or whatever, but it was nice to see, because everything's so far spread out in this world, but the world is so rich and detailed, and there's so much in it, and it's so neat to see some of these people overlapping, because many times, it takes weeks, sometimes even months to travel from one of these major, set points to the next set point. And so it's kind of cool when you do see some of these characters, even smaller ones, go and weave. I think it's a good story.
Definitely true. Very nice. Very good point. Let's move on to the...
Is somebody wrestling with a chair?
Huh?
I think you're talking about your squeak chair, man.
That was my chair. My bad.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay, I'm sorry. I swear to God, it sounded like somebody was having a fight.
You can't see this because I don't have my camera on, but I got the wickedest fucking sleeping leg right now. My leg is asleep like a motherfucker. I'm stomping on the floor right now. My foot's asleep like you cannot believe. But I'm powering through it because that's what I do. That's what I do.
You got that
one of those old...
Don't call me a hero. But no, this is like a chair I got at Walmart like 10 years ago. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, it's good. It's treated me well. But let's move on to the last part of the episode. Well, not the last part of the episode. One of the last part of the episodes with Oberyn. And oh my God, this scene was just wonderful, man. I love this scene. Probably my favorite, if not the last part of the episode.
Probably the best scene, in the episode.
He originally talks about the fact that Cersei wanted to kind of get him over to his side, talking about her daughter and whatnot. Then he's like, the whole story was the best part for me. He's like, I met you once. Like, I would have remembered if we met once. He's like, no. You were a baby, so you probably don't remember this. But it was crazy that what happened, man. Like, everyone was talking about him, that he's some kind of devil child with a red eye, claws, tail, and everything. And at first you could see Tyrion like, oh, now you're talking shit about me too. But you can imagine my disappointment when I realized that you were just a fucking little baby with little arms and a small pink cock. So
I love when he said though too,
I love when he said last part in there.
I love when he said too that you were rumored to have both male and female, body parts or whatever. And then Tyrion goes, would have made things a lot easier, because then I could go fuck myself. And I just love that.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. So basically the whole point of that story was to show, first of all, how fucked up Cersei is, and that the fact that she always wanted him dead, even as a baby, because she pinched his dick, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Damn.
You know what, though? But the thing that I took from that was that, when kids are very young like that, they're young and impressionable, right? And I think she was about 4 or 5 or something like that from what people told me. She's about 4 or 5 years older than him. And you think about it, it was the word was going around. They didn't have Facebook and all that shit back then, right? So obviously the rumors get around about him having the claw and everything else. You know how that spreads. But Tywin, wanted to kill him at birth anyway, and all Cersei has always wanted was her father's approval, but she's never been looked at as anything but a female that could be used as a pawn in his game of chess, right? And she's grown up and at a very young age sees that her mother died giving birth to what they consider, and what the rumor everybody's talking about, all the servants are on Castle Rock. He's an imp, he's a monster, he's a this, he's a that. And as messed up as it is, I don't agree with what she did, but I can see how a young child like that would, hearing everybody else blaming her mother's death, who she probably loved very much, on this little brother, and it's like, are you kidding me? This is a piece of garbage. It's a monster. I hate him, you know. And I don't think it's right at all, or agree or condone with a lot of things that she's done. But I can sympathize with her to the extent that I can understand.
She pinched the guy's dick, man. You don't do that.
I don't think it's sympathize either. I think
that's a line you don't cross, man.
I just think I thought it was interesting just to see what her point of view is, or really why she hated her brother. But I think the one thing that really interests me a lot is where you get to see how human Oberyn is. How, you know, him and his family, and, you know, how they more brought up and how they see things compared to the Lannisters.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've always liked, since they introduced him, I liked Oberyn, and just, you know, even how they deal with bastards and everything else. You know, they're celebrated there. They're born out of passion, you know, and this and that. So I did like that, and that scene though was key. I mean, Oberyn is great. I mean, the way he came in, and he, like you said, the beginning part when you were talking about that, when he's talking about, you know, her daughter and Marcel, and she tried doing this, and I love too. Tyrion said something about what did he say about Cersei, about her.
She fooled herself.
Yeah, she said something about she fooled herself into something, and then her thoughts wind up becoming believable. Something like, it was something really well said, you know. And Oberyn was like, yes, it is, right. You know. But then just when he went into the story and everything like that, I thought it was just amazingly played out, you know. And then how it kind of comes to it, you know, and he goes and he's just like, so I'll be your champion, you know, because he's like, all this other stuff aside, you know, all this nice, you know, gushy stuff that I talked to you about and gave you the backdrop on why your sister really hates you or hated you at a very young age. It doesn't matter because I need to have my revenge on the mountain, you know. So, and I just loved how it transitioned into that, you know. It was so well done, man. And
what I loved about this scene the most is that I relate to Tyrion so much, in that in many ways I'm kind of the black sheep of my family.
I'm not as pinched your ding-a-ling when you were that little. That's not nice.
I'm not as successful as like some of the other members of my family. You know, me and my mom going through the things we went through, we're like the black sheep, and I can understand that, and I can relate to that a lot. And that's Tyrion. And Tyrion, he's carried that all his life. And so if Tyrion does survive this is going to be a whole new side of Tyrion we're going to see going forward, because he's going to finally break away from his family once and for all, because I think that he's always held on that one possibility that they would accept him one day, besides Jaime. You know, that's why, like, he was always like the free spirit when we first introduced to Tyrion. You know, he spent money and he fucked bitches. That's what Tyrion did. He didn't get into the politics and anything. And then going forward in season 2, he started getting involved, and he found, you know, I like this. I see why my family is so enthralled in this. I like playing this game. And he really wanted his respect. He was hoping to get the respect of his father, because he played very well. Did he overplay? Yes, but he still played very well. Yeah. And now that it's all just, you know, blew up in his face, it's a sad, sad story. And I really hope Tyrion's story doesn't end. It's a possibility, and I'm scared. But I really hope it doesn't end, because I would like to see Tyrion go that different direction, do his own thing, and make his own mark in the world.
I honestly cannot see Oberyn dying now.
Yeah.
He seems confident. He seems skilled. You see the preview. He's flipping that spear around like it's nothing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, and I got to agree on that one, because if they take a character that they just introduced in this season, and he seems to be playing a pivotal role in many states of affair and matters at King's Landing, I find it hard to believe that with his backstory and the vengeance he wants to enact on that.
To have him die to a meathead? No.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening.
I don't see it happening, but you know, but I do agree too, though, with Rick, that a lot of unexpected things happen in this show, and it's probably best to just kind of reserve reserve judgment and have a little bit of caution going in any situation like this.
If he's killed, I would be completely shocked. I understand that it is Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
I'll agree with Zoro on that one. I'd probably be shocked. I would
be completely shocked.
I have faith that Oberyn's going to succeed, and I knew he was going to pick him as his champion. As far as I still think that Tyrion's not going to die soon. I think he probably get past through this. Maybe die maybe somewhere later.
I hope he doesn't, because hands down, man, he's one of the best actors, if not the best actor in the series. You know what I mean? I think Tywin is great. I think Oberyn has been a great addition. I really enjoy a lot of the scenes with Jon Snow. There's been several others that have grown on me, that I like, but man, I really like Tyrion. I have now since about halfway through season 1.
If he dies here, then it would mean, like, first off, if they lose the whole duel here, I mean, then the whole revenge thing and his whole backstory and his purpose for being King's Landing is completely pointless. He would die before he could accomplish that.
Yeah, because I agree with you. I think Oberyn might kill Tyrion's father. That's what I think.
Hey, I mean, that's still a possibility, man.
I think that's the end
that
game.
Was
yeah,
funny too, because he's like, I never met someone who wants to hate and wants to kill the Lannisters as much as I do.
Yeah, I know, and he loved that when he talked about how Cersei really wanted him dead and everything. That was great. So that was great. There's so many key lines in this, man. Oh my God, it just
right.
It really is. It reminds me so much of like just those really great Quentin Tarantino movies from like back in the 90s, where there wouldn't be any action on screen for like 10 minutes, but it would just be this just wonderful dialogue going back and forth, and you were like, and every time you watched
even
it,
recently,
I was gonna say
every Tarantino movie has that though.
Some of the things that I do like too, like I remember even in the beginning seeing of Reservoir Dogs, with the characters start just talking directly to each other.
Yeah, Dogs is one of the best Pulp Fiction. I know he still does some good stuff. I haven't seen
Django is so amazing. Oh my God, I love Django.
Yeah, see, Django is one that I still have to see. That's one. Okay, that's my list.
Come on, dude.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Oh, it's so good.
I like. It's funny. I like all his movies except one of the ones that kind of disappoint me, which I wish it did a lot more, was
Jackie.
No, it was the World War II one. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Glorious Bastards.
Yeah. Glorious Bastards.
You didn't like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it as much as I think all other people.
I mean, it was one of the weaker of the Tarantino. It was still a good movie. I mean, they still had those moments, like that scene underground with the bar where they're they're drinking, playing cards.
That was the only highlight for me was that, and maybe what's going on in the theater.
Yeah, but sometimes though too with Tarantino movies they grow on you with multiple viewings. Like if anybody's ever seen True Romance, that was actually the first. He didn't direct the movie. Tony Scott did, but Quentin Tarantino actually wrote it, and is an excellent movie, great cast.
Right.
But anyway, some of his movies though, like Pulp Fiction, the first time I saw it, I didn't like it. I didn't. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way it was told in that backwards way. And sometimes when you go into a viewing of something, if you're just not in the right mood or you expect something that movie does not do for you, you can have a negative impression of it. Because there's movies that I've done that to, and then I've gone and I've seen it under different conditions. Whatever. I'm not as stressed out. I'm not as pissed off. Whatever. And then I have a completely different opinion after I see the movie. So that's just me, though.
No, that's a good point, because I felt that way about From Dusk Till Dawn. I know it's not one of his movies either.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I love Dusk Till Dawn.
At first, I'm like, what the fuck is this crazy shit going on?
Hour into the movie, it's not one damn vampire.
I think when you talk about people as far as watching movies, if you really throw them something like what they really expect, they tend to hate it.
All right.
Yeah, and it all depends on what you're expecting going into it. I did not the first season of Game of Thrones. The first time I saw it, I was not a huge fan of it after they killed Ned Stark. I looked at it and I was like, what kind of bullshit is this, man? Because I was thinking it was going to be the conventional. First of all, I thought it was going to be this fantasy epic thing with like swords and sorcery and dragons and all that type of shit. I did not realize that it was like medieval, almost like soap operas. It was a lot of mind fucking. It was a lot of scenes where it was the dialogue that was key, not somebody cutting somebody's head off. But then once I got past that and I started to get into it, then I started really enjoying it, that much more. But I came into it with a different mindset, and I was under the impression that it was a different type of series than it actually was. Once I learned to appreciate it for what it was, then I've just, my love for it's grown each week. It's really, really cool now, and it's so interesting to learn about all the backstories and the history. You're just like, it's like being in school, but like being in a cool class with a cool teacher that smokes weed and shit. You know what I mean? Just like that cool teacher's always like, hey, man, and comes in and teaches you some shit, but you don't feel like you're learning. You feel like you're just hanging out with a buddy. And that's what I feel like with Game of Thrones, It's just, wow, it's cool stuff.
It is
with Tarantino, when I first watched Kill Bill 2, Volume 2, I was really irritated with the ending. Because you didn't even get to see Bill fight.
Right.
But then when I really thought about it, and I watched it again, I was like, yo, that dialogue was just fucking awesome.
That was
digressing.
Very good. Yeah. I thought it came full circle, but let's try to get back on track, I guess.
Yeah.
I can talk about Tarantino for days. Well, let's get back and let's talk.
We'll do a Tarantino stream sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Sounds good. I got to do one of these things. We did this on the fandom group, and this is gonna be a little off topic, but where we get in a stream and we watch a movie, because we can do that, and then like screen share or something or what, and we like comment and like. We did that for Dragon Ball Evolution. It was the funniest shit ever. We just made fun of it the whole time, but Anyway, let's get back on topic. We already got Game of Thrones. Final part of the episode. First off, we see Sansa. I think she's talking to. I forget his name. Is it Tommen? Tommen? That's his name. The son.
Robin.
Robin. I'm sorry, Robin. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
Robin. Talking
Might
to
have
him.
been Christopher Robin from Winnie the Pooh.
What?
Same haircut and everything.
I see that. Yeah, Sansa created basically the snow version of Winterfell, and after a little bit of dialogue, fucking Tommen flips out. Robin rather flips out and stomps on it because it didn't have a moon door. And she bitch slaps him. I'm like, oh, finally you do something. So she slaps him. He goes off. She gets all worried, and that's when my dude Littlefinger shows up. Oh, dude.
Yo.
Okay. Listen, after a little bit of dialogue, obviously they have their kiss, and I'm still not convinced though when it comes to Littlefinger that he's into her. I think this is all for using her eventually down the road. I still am not convinced. He said, "Oh, you're beautiful. You're more beautiful than your mother ever could be." I still don't believe that.
Okay. If he isn't into her, Sansa, then I give him more credit than he is. But I still think he probably is in some way because he does look like, the girl he always wanted.
But I mean, even in the last part of the episode, not to jump ahead, but he said, "There's only one person I've ever loved, and your sister," and he fucking bah. So I mean, it's not like he loves her, or else he wouldn't have said that.
I hear what you're saying.
I understand.
So I mean, we'll see what exactly Littlefinger's end goal is, because right now he's just making moves, and we don't have the full picture as of yet. But let's move on to the final part of the episode after the whole kiss scenario. And Lyza sees Sansa getting the tongue action from Littlefinger, and she runs off and calls out for her. The little thing. She pretty much was about to throw her out the moon door. Like what I got from it, she was going down. She was gonna get thrown out there. But Prince Littlefinger comes in yet again to save the day, and they fucking chucks that bitch out the window, man, or out the moon door rather. So, oh my god, dude, that was.
I was
I'm not gonna say I called it, but
I was gonna say the one character left is gonna be Robin. He's gonna throw Robin in that moon door too.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Make the little fucker fly, as he would call it. I hate that kid, man. I mean, I know he's a naive kid, and he's not awful. Like, he's just spoiled beyond belief.
But you know what though? Doesn't he seem like he's like he's fucking autistic or something like that? And I'm not trying to be down on anybody that's
he's a victim of his mother's shelterness.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first, because he was sucking on the teat. He's never been out of there, and he thinks every keep should have a moon door and all that. I get all that stuff, but just like the way he acts and the way he kind of talks, and like he seems like somebody he's a little bit challenged. He's a little bit special. He seems like.
That is a possibility.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not making fun of people like that. I'm just saying if there was buses in Westeros and there was a school, he'd be taking the short bus to school. That's all I'm saying. He seems like he might be in the special class.
Well, I always thought of him more like, I don't want to say he's like Joffrey, but I feel he's more like timid or a little bit more like, just like you said, sheltered and stuff.
Yeah.
But I see Joffrey being just like Robin.
Right.
I mean, Robin could be a Joffrey 2.0 if.
Yeah, but I think Joffrey can punk Robin easily. Of course, he's not that aggressive like him.
Yeah, Robin seems like.
All right. Yeah. I was watching a review, and this guy pointed out something extremely interesting, and the symbolism of the snow which Sansa's seen, and how the parallelism that both Arya and Sansa have something from home. With Arya, it's her sword needle. With Sansa, it's the snow. The snow is home to her. It's like the one thing that reminds her of Winterfell, and that's why her building that castle. It was very therapeutic to her in a sense, and which is why I understand why she did get so upset. Normally, Sansa's a whiny bitch. I'm gonna give her a pass this episode. I have no hate whatsoever for Sansa this episode.
Yeah, I've changed my opinion a lot on her since the beginning of the season. I think she's all right. No.
Yeah, she didn't do anything wrong in this episode. How could you blame her for what happened in this episode? I mean,
no, but I mean, when he was talking about everything, because we normally kind of hate on Sansa a lot. I know.
Well, there was a review that I was watching too from Larry.
And there's reason to.
He did, he thought that Sansa acted immature and unreasonable, and that she created that problem. And I totally disagree with that.
The kid? No, the kid was being a spoiled asshole.
Yeah,
and stomped on something that she really cared about. You know what I'm saying? She's like,
And you got to think about it too. From this, okay, she's been a hostage or a prisoner basically in King's Landing for what, the better part of 2-3 years now. Who knows? Seen her whole family pretty much get killed. All the just evil things that have happened to her, and she hasn't even been anywhere to see snow because it don't snow in King's Landing. Now she's actually seen some snow. So like you said, it was symbolic, I think. And then her building Winterfell from the best of her memory. They don't have no Google Maps, man. She can't just go and look at a picture of that shit. You know what I mean? She can't go to Google Street and type in Winterfell and see it from the outside. So she's building it. Maybe it took her hours to do it. And then this little fucking autistic bastard comes over. I've got to make a moon door, and he kicks it over. You know, yeah. I would have slapped him too.
Yeah, Littlefinger said it best. You know, his mother should have did it a long time ago.
I love Littlefinger. His mother should have did it a long time. His lines are just so cool because he's like a rat. You know what I mean? He's just like a rat when he comes in there, and he's like such a smart rat. You know, he's
a rat. Fuck yeah.
Also, though, something that we kind of debated last week. So Littlefinger did excel his plan because of what happened in the Red Wedding. I think that's what that line means because he tells Sansa, "What do we do to the one?" Sansa asks, "Why did you kill Joffrey?" And Littlefinger immediately responds with, "What do we do to the ones that hurt the ones that we love?"
Well, first he went into the whole thing about, I loved your mother and this and that. And then he said, in another life, I could have been your father, So, and then at that point, I felt not threatened by him anymore to want to stick his little finger in or whatever, And that part of it was very cool. But I thought in my mind, though, that still doesn't make sense that he killed Joffrey. He's not stupid. He knows Tywin's pulling the strings. Joffrey was the better thing to do that would cause more chaos amongst the realm, I think, So I think that reason he gave is only partially true. Yeah, he wanted to hurt the Lannisters and everything like that, but Joffrey was hated anyway, you know what I mean? No one's really mourning for him in that family except for his mother.
I don't think the reason he gave was the real reason. Why would he tell Sansa the truth?
I don't think he tells anybody the truth.
Exactly. We can't take what Littlefinger says at face value. You can't do that.
No, but I think he was doing that just to cause an uproar. Just because he said he had no problem running chaos. Especially since Joffrey's dead. I don't know if he probably knew for sure that they probably would blame Tyrion, but it would have been something as far as keeping King's Landing in an uproar.
No. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did it because it was the most beneficial move that he could make for him at that moment. And because he could. Because he. But yeah, he's a sharp one, that guy, man. I tell you. So the second half of the scene, once she slaps him, first of all, I was clapping. I was like, good, you slapped the little shit, and it was good. And then of course that scene between her and Littlefinger, and then I honestly didn't expect him to lean in and give the kiss. I mean, after he said you're even more beautiful than your mother, then I expected it to come in. I was like, God damn, you little salt and pepper haired pervert, I was like, man. Because I really didn't think that he wanted Sansa like that at this point. It had crossed my mind a few times before, but he didn't really make any advances on her or anything like that, even when he had her on the boat and everything else. So I was just kind of like, all right,
Well, but you forgot he's always good at deception. He knows how to keep himself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he is. He's good at masking that shit, and it's good. I mean, if you don't see it coming, man, that's for me. That's great for the reader, the viewer, whatever.
Yeah, the way I was thinking about it before. I mean, why would like she said, why would he bring her here? He has a plan to use her for some purpose. And I thought, she is the key to Winterfell right now, so why not, plant the seed, so to speak, no pun intended, or, whatever, you got me doing dirty jokes now, Jim. But basically, why not use her for his own purposes? It would make a lot of sense. The only negative from that, though, I can think of is that, obviously, she's an enemy to the crown as of right now because of what happened with Joffrey. But
he's gonna have to play that one smart.
But now that Lyza's dead, he's the Lord of the Vale, right? Now that they consummate their marriage.
Consummated their marriage, he should be Lord of the Vale.
I mean, anyone, their mother.
Until Robin's of age, but Robin's not gonna make it, past next
episode. Here's the thing, though. If you look at the preview, there's going to be some repercussions or something.
It looks like there's some sort of questioning or trial where Sansa's trying to tell the truth for what happened, but I think that's just a play on things. I think that they're getting you to think that's going to happen, and I think it's actually going to be that he wanted to basically threatening her and saying, if you don't say what happened, I'm going to go and turn you over to the crown because you are an enemy of the crown. I think he's going to remind her that he framed her very well for murdering the king, and that she's going to say what he wants. So that's my prediction on that one, because whenever I watch those previews, they always make you think one thing, and then they just slap you in the face with something else. So
right.
Usually.
There's going to be some questioning, I would assume, for her death, but I mean, he's the Lord of the Vale now. I mean, I can't think that he would pin it on her, because why would he try to kiss her or whatever if he had this plan from the beginning anyway? I think that his actual goal for her is not just pinning the death of her aunt on her.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that was an awesome ending to this episode. Any other parts that we could go over and discuss? I think we've covered pretty much all of it.
Well, just obviously at the end, just what he did, and when he came in like that, and I mean, you had a feeling it was coming the whole time, but I just love how it was so cold, how he delivered that line, and he was just like, I've only loved one person in my life, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna say Cal, and he's like, your sister, and he just drops her at the moon door, and I'm like,
I just love her expression change, like, and she's,
this is like 2 minutes after she just had this talk with Sansa about how the bodies pop apart and all this like creepy shit, man, and the heads are still intact. We find them with their fucking eyes staring, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, that's just nasty, when you think about it, it's like, oh. But yeah, that was
not from that height though. You're dead like before you even hit the ground. You know what I'm saying?
I would think so, but nonetheless, though, still a terrible way to go, and just to have something vividly described to you, and then have it happen to yourself, it's like,
it's so poetically just.
Oh man, and you know what though, Lyza was, and honestly, you saw her in the first season, you knew she was crazy feeding this 10-year-old kid on her tit or whatever, and then we haven't seen her since then or heard from her. She was reintroduced. I mean, the actress that plays her does a good job, but the bottom line is she is a stage 5 clinger, dude. Okay, she's a stage 5 clinger. Even if Littlefinger wasn't fucking around on her, she was already pulling Sansa's hair and all that shit in a couple episodes ago, holding her hands real tight and accusing her of stuff. She was just batshit crazy and she doesn't have a firm grasp on reality. And that's why Littlefinger used her, obviously. He's very smart. But Lyza is one of those that she was pissing me off after like 5 minutes in a couple episodes ago. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh my god, I want to punch her in the face. So but one of the funniest parts of the year was when of the season so far was a couple episodes ago when she was talking to Littlefinger about getting married, and everybody was going to know. She was going to be screaming that night, and next thing you know, it shoots to Sansa, and she's staring there looking at the candles and hearing all throughout the castle, and I'm just thinking, man, Sansa, poor girl, you should have just stayed in King's Landing, man. Being married to Tyrion doesn't look so bad now, does it?
I mean, the whole screaming thing actually helps Littlefinger out more, because people know
that they consummated, and that was where my point was going, is that now the whole castle knows that, so there's no one can contest it and say, oh no, you did, it's no, bitch was screaming from the towers, last week, so. So it all wrapped around. It was done very well. The scene was just so funny when you saw it played out, because you were just like, Sansa sitting there like, gosh, she's got to listen to Littlefinger and her aunt fucking. You know what I mean? That's just like, oh Jesus, that's just a porno I don't want. Yeah, exactly. So
a little awkward.
Good stuff though, man. I'm a little upset that we got to wait 2 weeks for that next episode.
Yeah, that's the one thing, man. 2 weeks to see the fight with Oberyn now. I want to see that fight, man.
I'll keep myself busy. I'm sure you guys will as well. Memorial Day weekend and all that stuff,
That's
so
true, yeah.
I'll find something to keep me going. But I can spare 55 minutes a week, man. And I got to get my Game of Thrones fix.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of lucky because I'm off the hoe a little bit. There's this awesome new show on Showtime, Petty Dreadful.
Yeah, so you were talking about that last week. I got to get hooked up with some Showtime.
That ending to episode 2 also. And I also doing reviews on it, so I'll be able to do that next week. So, but yeah.
The one show I'm looking forward to is that new Flash series on CW.
Oh yeah, that looks really cool.
I mean, I know it's a CW, so you hold your expectations, but it's still. I mean, from what I've seen from the previews and everything that they brought, it looks really good.
CW, I think, is doing Arrow when Arrow just finished its second season, or is finishing. Right. I believe Arrow is, because everybody's been telling me to watch it. It's one of the better shows on
If I'm not
TV.
mistaken, didn't that character show up in Arrow, and that's why he's getting his film
it was the
I think that was
pilot thing.
Yeah, I think that was
bringing
what
in
happened. So.
so.
And
that's cool.
I might get flack for this, but I don't know. I saw the trailer there. I'm sorry, it looked cheesy as hell.
Which trailer? Which trailer did you see?
The one with it showed Arrow and it showed.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch the 5-minute trailer. There's a 5-minute trailer.
Talking about Arrow, or talking about the Flash one?
No, it was the Flash one, but it showed like Green Arrow into it.
Yeah, there's another full trailer out there.
Another one?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, like when I first saw like Smallville, for example, I thought this looks dumb as fuck. But when I hold to my expectations when it comes to some of these shows, because I don't expect much out of them. But this one, the graphics and everything, not graphics, but What was I looking for?
The
visuals. The visual effects look really good. Like for a CW show.
That'd be nice. If you guys get a chance. If you guys get a chance too, right when Game of Thrones ends, which will be about middle of June, June 22nd, Falling Skies starts its 4th season on TNT, and it's very cool. Aliens take over the world type of thing. Very much has that Walking Dead type of feel to it. Apocalypse, all other stuff. There's warring alien races, and the whole show takes place after the initial invasion, and it's basically people surviving and trying to go and eventually take back the Earth. And very cool, but 10-episode season. This season, I believe, is a 12-episode season, but the first 3 you could catch up on real quick. They're only 10 episodes, and definitely worth a watch. Very, very good stuff.
Yeah, there's a big list of shows that I need to catch up on that I'm going to try to.
I only suggest this one to you guys because if you're like the kind of the vein of how The Walking Dead goes and everything like that, this has a very similar feel in that post-apocalyptic sense, and some very good actors, some very good characters. And when there is action between the aliens fighting and everything like that, it's very cool stuff. So very well done.
Cool beans.
But anyway, that's all I got to say on that. So.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we should answer some questions. I think we've been neglecting the comments a little bit this stream. So
I haven't been seeing more statements. I haven't really been seeing any questions.
I agree. It is more of a
one question.
What question?
I gotta look for it right now. It was something about some character.
No, there are a couple of cool statements though. They love to use symbolism. First time he gets his guard down, talking about the Hound, is also the first time we see him without armor. That's interesting. That's cool. That's cool stuff. Dario was way too smooth. He swam a mile and climbed the pyramid to give her flowers. He knew he was gonna get that night. Man, fuck Dario, man. That's all I gotta say. Sorry, Rick. That smooth ass motherfucker thinks who he is, man. I want someone to chop up his fucking head, man. Sorry, but I don't know. I'm just hating right now. I'm hating. I gotta chill.
Yeah, I say you hating hard, man.
Yes. George deserves it, man.
I don't like this guy. He's too smooth.
George deserves it. Damn it. He's been putting in that work for how long, man?
That's what I say. I think George can win that fight. I'm all for it.
Let's go, George, man. Put in that work.
I know it'd be a hell of a fight. That's all I'm gonna say.
One person said, do you think that Daenerys will kill Jorah when she finds out that he is a spy for Varys? I don't think it might cause some tension, but I don't think that she'll kill him.
Yeah, I don't know, but at this point, I don't know that there's a lot that he could do to have her, really go and take anything out on him. I mean, she knows that he was exiled from Westeros for being a slaver. And honestly, if he just comes clean with her and was like, hey, listen, Khaleesi, I started doing this just in the hopes of trying to get, I mean, because when he started becoming a spy and everything like that, I'm assuming that's when he had already pledged himself to her brother. And we all know that guy was a freaking douche and a half, So he might have just been like, Khaleesi, I was just doing what I had to do to try to get back to my homeland. And I thought better of it. And he did very early on in the first season. So, but I don't know. I mean, I guess anything can happen with this show.
She gonna cuss his ass out. I know that for sure.
This is a really interesting comment. Do you think Sergio Farrell might be a faceless man, and him and Jaqen might make him the same person?
Yes, I do. I really do.
That's incredibly interesting.
I really do believe that Jaqen and Sergio are the same person.
Really?
It's possible.
I
think it's possible, but
I call me crazy or being outlandish or being reckless or whatever. I really do.
That would be something, man. That would be something, man. Yo.
I really, really do.
That right there, man. That's interesting. That's an interesting comment. So we'll see. We'll see. Do you have any reasons? You just kind of feel like that's the case, or
me?
Yeah.
I just feel because it's. Look, I mean, what does Joe 10 say? There's no coincidence, only
inevitability.
Yeah, it's just really odd that Jaqen cling to Arya so they just met by coincidence and then built that bond the way they did.
The thing is, though, Arya chose to save him from the cage that he was in or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
He didn't come out and say, "Hey, it's me, save me." He could have. He had no idea of knowing that she was gonna save him at that time, right?
But at the same time, I'm thinking that maybe Syrio saw something in Arya. I mean, he definitely did, because they were building a bond and whatnot. and maybe this order of this faceless order or whatever in Bravos, it's a test.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, it would be really cool. I just don't want Serial.
I'll say, Rick, you're probably kind of right on this one because they probably see a certain act in in Korea that they're looking for to join their group or guild or whatever.
And there's gotta be more.
If you look at Serial Pharrell, though, he's a swordsman, right? He is the world's greatest swordsman, according to himself. You know what I'm saying? Or according to Arya. You know what I'm saying? But when he uses assassination techniques, he didn't use a sword. He uses assassination stuff. It seemed like they had different fighting styles.
We don't know what he did.
I mean, Bravos is like a place that.
All we saw, the only thing we saw was that little dart in the back of the dude's neck.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true. That is a good point. You're right.
No, but it's more of a feeling. But I just and I think it would be really cool as hell because again, I would like to see his character come back.
Right.
I mean, I want to see both characters come back at some point.
So yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
If Serial's dead, I'll be so fucking mad. I can't have my dude be dead, man.
Maybe that's more what it is, and it's the possibility because I mean we see that he can repeatedly change his appearance at will.
Right.
Or however that magic works,
Exactly.
So we'll see. I mean, but it's more of a feeling and a want, I guess.
Right. Same here.
Not strong, theories behind it, but.
Yeah, I mean, I agree I think that in Bravo she'll find that maybe those two know each other, have some kind of connection, but I think they're two different people. But hey, man, I wouldn't. It's a solid theory.
Oh, come on. Brez Boy's not on the Littlefinger bandwagon. He's like, Littlefinger's a G, but come on, guys, he did Eddard too.
Yeah. He's Eddard. He's still bitter over Ned's death.
Eddard killed himself, man. You know what I'm saying? He might as well have given himself his own head.
Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself.
I'm just saying, man. You know what I'm saying? I respect his, you know what I'm saying, his way about going things. But in this world, in the game, I mean, if it was a real world, in our world, it flies. It's a legitimate thing to do. But in the Game of Thrones world, acting like that, acting all high and mighty and following all the rules and not, cutting edges and being so, Mr. Goody Two Shoes is going to get you killed, and that's what Eddard proved.
Okay, this is what I was broken down for me by SMX Wing, which is a book reader that I talk to on a regular basis.
Okay.
Basically, he did what he did to save Cersei's children. He didn't want what happened to Cersei's children, what happened to the Mad King's children, happened to Cersei's. He gave Cersei the opportunity to get her children out of King's Landing. That was the intention.
I get that because when you actually watch, like I said, I watched the hour-long thing. Like he was really against the murdering of what Tywin did and murdering all those children. He was really one of the few people that stood up against that and was incredibly against it. So that makes sense.
Yeah, they even said that in his dialogue.
But see, and this is what I told Zorro though. At the end, Joe Zorro, I'm sorry, on Facebook that's his name.
Right.
At the end of the day, it was a noble, honorable choice, but it was still a bad call on his part. It was still, it still bit him in the ass. He still made the mistake. He still made the choice.
I mean, you can't blame Littlefinger though. I mean, he basically put Littlefinger into a bad spot. You know what I'm saying? Where he had to make a choice.
Littlefinger told him.
Littlefinger
told him, "Don't trust me." He said, "Don't trust. You're the last person. What he said was not trusting me is the smartest thing you've done since you got off your horse."
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, how many people would give him that warning?
But telling Cersei, at least he could have told other people to have some, collateral in case things went south. Mm-hmm. Very stupid of him to not tell anybody.
What I would have done as Ned, look, I'm going to be the boss, so I'll just get Cersei's kids out of there myself.
Right.
They love me. They know me. I'm Uncle Ned. They're going to come with me, no problem.
True.
And I'll lock Cersei up in the dungeon.
Yeah, he could have did it that way too. You're right. That's a good point. So, basically, Ned was just too naive, and maybe not naive. He did take countermeasures, but he just took the situation too light of the situation, man. He didn't do what he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't a player of the game. You know what I'm saying? Some people aren't built for the game. He wasn't built for the game.
I see what you were saying, man. But I think it was more like he wasn't expecting certain characters, how far they would go for that. Especially how what's her name? Got her name already.
Cersei?
Cersei, especially how Cersei, how cruel that lady is. I mean, she will, go for to do anything.
Right. He tried to appeal to her.
Yeah, her kindness.
To her sensitive kindness. There is none to be had with her. only kindness she has is for her children. That's about it. So yeah, no, that was a bad call on Ed's part. I respected the honor with him and everything and his way about going things, but he got himself killed. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he did. I truly do agree with that.
But I think on that note, we can wrap it up. We've been going on for like an hour and 20 minutes, so
Yeah.
I think we can wrap this up, guys. Final thoughts on the episode? We could start with Jim.
I thought it was a great episode, and honestly, for me, it's just as I've been learning more about, some of this backdrop and some of the history and the different lands and everything like that. I think that's really what's increasing my, I guess, passion for the show or whatever, So it seems like for me, each week the show keeps getting better and better because I'm not so much looking at the things I want to have happen anymore as I am just really appreciating the things that do take place and really enjoying a lot of the scenes that are just done very well with a lot of the actors and just, I mean, even little stuff like the way the camera, the camera panned as Cersei was walking to see the mountain and the camera panned and just showed the bottom half from her knees down as she was walking. She's this lady, this queen regent, and she's walking over the entrails and all this just gore and guts and everything like that. And it was like, for me, it was like symbolic of like she would walk through hell if she needed to, through a river of blood to make sure that she ensured that Tyrion was killed. And just little symbolic things and everything like that. Plus, it's something that I enjoy watching with with my oldest son and my wife. So we definitely have that, as a common thread. So, like I said, I'm just really excited for the next episode. Certainly, we're going to get to see, the showdown between the Viper and the Mountain, and really just almost kind of sad that there's only 3 episodes left in the season, and then we got to wait a whole another year. So, but very good stuff in my opinion, and a lot of great things happen.
Yeah, very good. All right, Shabrit, your thoughts?
Oh, I thought this was a really good episode, man. I mean, it hit all the points what I was looking for as far as certain characters, seeing how they interacted, and you see a lot of old recurring characters coming back and showing what was possibly going to be going on as far as the character stories moving forward and stuff. I think it was like this season has been done pretty well. I mean, almost every episode except for like maybe one has been doing pretty well and keeping consistent. I just can't wait when the next one can come out, and it sucks that we got 3 episodes left until like the next season. So
very true. All right,
so quick.
It does, man. It does.
I like the insight into each character's psyche that we kind of got. I think the Tyrion scenes were the standout of the season. I like the progression of process of elimination, reaching his champion, and I actually like the fact that it wasn't all planned by Tyrion. That it was like he did make his mistakes, but at the same time it looks like it's gonna maybe work out in the end because he has his champion. We'll have to see how things play out. But overall, I'm hyped for not only the fight, but the other thing. We're gonna address the Wildling Raiders. We're gonna progression with the Ramsay Theon scene.
Mo Galen, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I wish actually would replace the Melisandre scene, even though it was great to see her.
Nah,
boobies.
man, I'm sorry, boobies, man. Do we talk about that scene?
Tiny nipples though, man. We kind of grazed past it, but yeah, tiny nipples.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how. Hopefully, some of these storylines get wrapped up by season's end. We'll have to wait and see, though.
All I'm saying, for someone in probably middle age, maybe 40s, not bad. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, she's looking good. She's a cute MILF, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm mid-30s, so I'll pretty much bang anything that let me at this point in my life. But that's besides the point. That's another story for another time. But the only thing, nipple's a little too small for me. So, but other than that, she's looking good.
Listen, man.
She's looking good, and it looked like Celise was looking our eyeing her up too. It looked like Celise was thinking about a lesbian scene.
That's a nit. Well, I was gonna say nitpick, but I said nitpick because with her nipples, man. But it is what it is. But I mean, I give her credit because she's willing to do those things, unlike a certain Daenerys, who I think the scene would be a little bit different if she didn't have a certain clause in her contract. You know what I'm saying with her.
That's how she got people. That's how she got people.
My wife and I talked about that earlier today. If she would have taken a stance to begin with, I would have respected her. But she used this to gain popularity and to use it as leverage to say, hey, you know what? You can't replace me now, and I'm going to do what I want because I feel like I can go get work anywhere else. And I think that's a shitty way of being, man. That's not right. Yeah. It's just not right.
I was going to say, I was gonna say, Jim. I said, what? You had to cover up your oldest son at looking at all the new scenes and stuff.
Nah, man, he's almost 14, so it's not like he's really. I mean, it's funny because he looks away anyway because he's sitting there watching it with his parents, you know. So, and I always mess around, especially when they show a dude's ass. I'm always like, oh man, look at them butt cheeks. That dude is super toned, man. And he's always like, Dad, don't say that. You know, it's like embarrassing to him. And I'm like, no, man, dude is fit, man. Look at that ass. Look at his ass cheeks. I'm always messing with him, you know. So,
oh man,
it's kind of fun messing with him a little bit, you know. But yeah, he looks away during all that stuff just because it's still embarrassing to him. It's like he wants to look, you know, but he can't. His little finger's telling him to look, but you know, he's like, no, I can't do this. You know?
Yeah, but I think we did forget to talk about Melisandre's scene, if I'm not mistaken.
We kind of grazed over it as we talked. We just lumped both.
The one thing to take from that scene, I would think, besides the boobies, obviously, is the fact that she was manipulating people to think. I mean, to get them like their foot in the door when it comes to obviously the Lord of Light.
The Lord of Light, yeah. She was, you know what it was? She was spiking the Kool-Aid, man. You know, I mean, actually, that's why we didn't do. I think we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show, you know, when we were on before. But that was neat to see that, you know, she straight out admitted to her, like, hey, listen, a lot of this is smoke and mirrors. I just push people in the right direction, you know. And then I like how Celeste was like, did you do that with Stannis? And she was like, no, bitch, I'm just hotter than you. You know, I mean, that's what she said. But that was what she was thinking. You got to read between the lines.
And
that's right, though.
Stannis' daughter has a purpose.
Yep.
Yep.
And the wife, apparently.
You know what my interpretation of that one is? I think her daughter might die.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like, your daughter has a big thing. Oh yeah, she's got to be sacrificed to the Lord of Light. Yeah, sure.
If it's done though, I don't think it'll have to be done behind Stannis' back. Stannis won't do it. I don't think he'll do it.
No way Stannis will do that, dude.
Yeah, it's not gonna do it. Maybe the redheaded woman. Yeah, maybe.
But I think he'll go apeshit if it does happen, though. It'll break if they hurt his daughter, he'll break away from the Lord of Light religion. I truly believe that.
I agree. Stannis is my dude, man. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna put in work. I'll be honest. So.
Yeah, as I said, I think he might make it, and I think he's gonna try to get it.
Stannis is like that blue-collar guy, man. He's that guy that, like, he's worked in the machine shop for, like, 42 years since he was, like, 18 and just got out of high school. You know what I mean? He's that guy. He puts in his time every day. He puts in the overtime when necessary, you know. Yeah. That's Stannis for you. You know?
Like, you see the backstory on Stannis. Stannis was putting in work, man. Like, he held out for, like, months when the Tyrells had a siege over,
Storm's End, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Stannis has always been a very good soldier, and he's always been a very good order taker in that sense, you know, and very loyal, you know, to his brother, and obviously, you know, yeah, he's got a cool backstory as well, so.
Yeah, but, yeah, I think on that note, we've covered everything, but I do want to say, for me, this episode, I did enjoy it a lot. I cannot wait for this fight, and I do not think that Tyrion's going to meet his end anytime soon. That's my hope as a fan, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't have two major characters, Oberyn and Tyrion. Essentially, if they lose, they're both dead. So I can't have that happen, man. Yeah. Cannot have this happen. So hopefully I'm right. We'll see how things go. I'm very happy I finally got something right with this Game of Thrones because I've been striking out a little bit.
Put it out there. Golf clap for Zorro, man.
Yeah, thank you. But, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. But I think on that note, it was a great episode. Can't wait for 2 weeks from now. Some good shit's going to happen. But that was pretty much it for our stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then be sure to give it the old thumbs up. Those are always appreciated. Leave some more comments in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to answer them after the stream ends. If you still have some thoughts about the episode you want to get out or questions you want to ask, and you will subscribe if you want to all of these people down here. I will put links, or at least I think it will. Depends how lazy I am. But I'm going to try to put links to everyone's channels here, and if I do, then you will click on those links and subscribe, because they all have great channels and all do good content, anime, manga related, and Game of Thrones related. And finally, yeah, that's it for us, guys. Check out my One Piece video I put out yesterday, talking about the Straw Hat power rankings and bounty predictions. And that's it for me today, guys.
Not you, though. Not you can't watch that video, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't watch most of the shit Zora puts out.
I'm sorry, man. That's all right. Eventually will, Jim. Eventually you'll watch my shitty content.
I'll be there, dude. I'm creeping up on chapter 400, man.
You get there, man.
I'm gonna get there.
You're in the good part, man. You're in that CP9 arc. Come on, tell me that.
Damn right. We're moving on to Annie's lobby now, and I'm feeling it.
Oh wait, you about to pass me?
So, did you see the Rashomon part where Zoro cut the sea train in half?
Yeah. That shit was tight, man. And then when he took out T-Bone,
one shot, man.
Oh boy, I loved it.
All right. Get off topic here. Anyway, guys, we're out. Peace.